The February 25th electoral cycle translates into 24 years of uninterrupted electoral cycle, the longest in the history of Nigeria. It came with lots of optimism and expectation. In my own opinion, I would like to say that this election was the most anticipated election in the history of Nigeria. It came with lots of optimism amongst local and international observers that this election would come with more improvements than others.
Hello everyone, my name is Emmanuel and I want to share my thoughts on what I feel about the Nigerian February 25th, 2023 presidential election. It is a critical time for our nation and these are the issues that needs our attention. Firstly, most of the contestants in the elections are too old. We have contenders who are 70 and 72 years old respectively.
Hello, good day. My name is Dennis Eluchie Godwin. Now, following the outcome of the election, I would say that Nigeria still have a very long way to go in election matters.
To be sincere with ourselves, February 25th every year supposed to be an anniversary for this Nigeria. Every Nigerian knows say na February 25th 2023 na him our big men for this country carry their lie, deceit and open thief take so smelly clothes, wear am without shame. They waka for our country reach today.
Today, I'm going to share my thoughts with you about the Nigerian 25th February 2023 presidential election. The former president of Nigeria, General Muhammadu Buhari, and the National INEC chairman promised us Nigerians a good, incredible, transparent, free and fair election, which turned out to be our worst nightmare.
I'll be exploring the three prominent candidates, Mr. Peter Gregory Obi, Obedient of the Labour Party, Bola Ahmed Asiwaju Tinubu, Batified of the All Progressive Congress, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Articulated of the People's Democratic Party.
So what's an election? An election is a formal process where people choose individuals to hold public offices or decide on specific issues. And we're not going to be looking at the aspect of deciding on specific issues or making decision. We're going to be looking at the aspect of choosing individuals to hold public offices. Not talk about election. Eligible citizens, I'm not Nigeria, citizens from 18 years and above are the ones that are eligible to vote their representative.
It was an election that was so greatly anticipated by an average Nigerian with so much energy and hope that it's gonna be the only vital avenue for salvaging the situation of the nation.
Our president they say there is nothing I can do.
Oh.
So me there is nothing I can say. I will carry on. If I feel close my eyes, see myself for Canada, I collect more. No. I will come back. This country knows.
Two things were unprecedented about the 2023 general elections. First was the stout political rallies held by Nigerians across Nigeria even before electioneering campaigns kicked off. Second was the use of beavers. Nigerians were given repeated assurances that beavers would not falter, that beavers would work. Unfortunately, all these were rendered completely useless when the electoral body intentionally refused or failed to transmit results online.
This is the first DDM video competition. No glitches, no court cases, and definitely no human electoral empire. It is 100% transparent, free, fair, and credible. Why? Simple. Because the videos with the highest engagement on DDM YouTube DDM Twitter, or DDM Facebook will win 100,000 naira each. That means good news.
I'd like to inform you that, of course, you know, it is the February 25th presidential election first anniversary. Exactly a year ago, the presidential elections were held. And so today we have a small lineup, but that will take us to into the evening from now in about 8 p.m.
So let's go straight into this discourse. Barrister Eluchie, I think one of the burning issues in this in the election was the emergence of the candidates. Most people were particularly having not too happy about the way the candidates were nominated in elections. What do you think about the emergence of the candidates? Do you think the primaries that are organized by the major parties are something that all go well for the nation in terms of the future? Let's say talking about the kind of money bag politics we have during the primaries. Do you think the way major parties conduct primaries in the country and bring out their candidates, do you think it's something that causes for concern? We're looking at the way things are going in the primary. What do you think, sir? Barrister Eluchie? Barrister Eluchie, are you there?
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, sir.
Okay.
The primaries conducted by the parties. Do you think that they are the way to go for the future?
Good. The fact is that we should be having more attention. We should be focusing more on the primaries, because it is from these primaries that the candidates will emerge. But what Nigerians do, even the civil society, is that they let the parties do their own thing, and then whoever emerges from those primaries is what we now have to deal with. It is clear that there was not the primaries of the two parties that had primaries, actually, because it was the PDP and the APC that actually had primaries. If you remember, Mr. Peter B came into the Labour Party and gave life to that party, and whatever was organized was just organized for him to become the presidential candidate of that party. So there was virtually no primaries in the Labour Party. But for the PDP and the APC, the primaries was fraught with a lot of underhand dealings, which was not very good for party politics. One instance in the PDP primaries, for instance, was that after the votes began to be counted at the primaries, a candidate suddenly shifted and declared for a party which was quite unconstitutional. I mean, people from the party's own constitution. I mean, that was a very bad factor. In the APC, it was more like daggers drawn. There was deals. There was the hand. All we saw was people coming up to step down. Everybody was stepping down. So there was nothing democratic about the selection processes, or nothing that followed due process in the primaries of the three that led to the emergence of these three candidates. So going forward, I believe Nigerians should begin now to have more interest in political parties. It's not just 3 months to elections. You now begin to look at whoever they churned out, and then who you are stuck at that time. Actually, you are really stuck. We as a people are stuck because whatever they brought out in the primaries is what we are faced with. And the courts have now told us that if you are not a member of the party, you lack the jurisdiction to even question the primary processes. So for those who are worried about 2027, this is the time to begin to enter political parties at whatever levels, whether it's at the world or state, but get involved with political parties so that we can be able to ensure that the primaries will be altruistic and not the kind of practices that churned out we saw in the last election.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Looking at Dr. Dagmar Sali, I don't know if you are there. Looking at look at the candidate Tinubu. I don't know. What message you think personally he must have? What would you think is the major message you must have passed out to the electorate out there? But many people feel that he didn't really have any clear-cut policy out there. Or what he didn't say anything he was going to do if he became president. So that was the thought. What do you think was the major message he put out there? Because many people actually feel that this was a candidate that didn't really see this was what he wanted to do. Instead, he just actually came and said it was actually his turn to be president. What do you think about him generally as a candidate? Dr. Landuma Salisa. Okay, I think we're still having problems with his audio. Let's go to Barrister Mr. Saviour Ekpe. Mr. Saviour Ekpe, are you there, sir? Mr. Saviour Ekpe, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, looking at the candidate Tinubu, what do you think was the message he put out there in terms of his campaign? Do you think people actually got a grasp of what he wanted to do, or or like most people said, he actually came and used the instruments of the state just to bully himself into power? What do you think, sir?
Was telling us each candidate in best to party A may not be best to party B, and each of them were good in their own rights. But I think in all of them, as we talk about their programs and their itinerary, they all had their own programs and manifesto. But you know one thing that is outstanding in Nigeria, Nigerians are good in, permit me to use the word copy. If you look at what they were doing, almost all of them, they were singing one song. They were towing one line, but in all of them, what the question now is, in all that you have said that you're going to do, what was, okay, you said you are going to do this, you're going to do this. What are the modalities that you are going to implement each of those things? You know, that is why Peter Obi stood out among all of them. Because Peter Obi will not only tell you, we are going to bring about this, but this is, he told us the state of things in the country, how it's going to change, and the modalities that it was going to change. That's the basic difference. Now, let's look at them one by one. Someone like Alhaji Kwankwaso of NNPC, NNPP. If you look at him critically, he had a spread across the country, but his message was not centric. Not centric in the sense that just like what Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, they were not centric. We are going to rule a whole country of over 200 and maybe with the present analysis, over 260 million people. It is your place to tell us how you are going to do. Okay, let's talk about corruption. What are the modalities? Peter B told us what he did when he was governor in Anambra State, that this is what he did, in the zone with this other set of people, and this was the result. And that as a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that is going to step up that and bring it to reality. But our people, they only told us, I'm going to fight corruption. How are you going to fight corruption? What is your antecedent in fighting corruption? Now, you say they told us they are going to bring about, they are going to fight poverty and then to make sure that Nigerians are, what are the modalities? So it was like just a fanfare. It was just like a fanfare. That is why if you look at the election results, minus the abracadabra and all the manipulations are done by Mahmoud Yakubu, you discover that because of the program activities and how to tackle Nigerian problems by Peter, he had massive votes. He had massive votes across the country. But the problem that we are having in this country is that the people or the right person is always denied the right position. That's why you see them bringing somebody who is who read maybe geology to come be minister of health. In which country? Whereas we have professionals, we have people because they don't have a good agenda. Whereas we have people professionals who could man those offices. Hello.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your input. Okay, so, Mr. Barrister Izzy, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think the candidates among Peter Obi, Atiku, and Bola Tinubu, do you think they really pass their messages out there to the electorate? What do you think about the kind of campaign they spared? Do you think it was issue-based or it was without substance?
No, it was issue-based, very much issue-based. People who said Mr. Tinubu did not have a manifesto, he had a manifesto. Mr. Tinubu was going to live telling us that he will follow the footsteps of Muhammadu Buhari, that he will continue the legacies of Muhammadu Buhari. And those were evil legacies. Those were legacies of large-scale corruption, legacies of nepotism, legacies of hate, spreading hate. So he did have a manifesto, and that manifesto is directly what he's implementing now. He's building on those corrupt legacies. Corruption has gone haywire. Nepotism has not gone to the level whereby the CJ of the country nominates his entire families who are law professionals into virtually everything in the Supreme Court or in the judiciary. So he has built on Mr. Buhari's legacy. Now, those were evil legacies, that's what we're talking. With regards to Mr. Pitobi, Mr. Pitobi went a great deal. He went and explained, gave details. I mean, and he will always tell you, go and verify. I mean, he was very practical. So he also had his own manifesto. And again, that was why so many people keyed in. Nigerians keyed in because what they saw was not just what he was saying, but what he had lived through, his antecedents, what he did as governor of Anambra State. People saw it and they said, okay, if this is a man who can, as governor, he will not have all those hordes of aides messing around him to escort him to the plane and whatever. Perhaps, and we're in an era where we need to cut down the cost of governance, perhaps this is the kind of person we need. So he was very emphatic. And also Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar also had very clear manifesto based on what he did when he was vice president. And one good thing about him was that he had the reach. He was one who had the reach across the country. So his legacy was, yes, I have done it before. I have, his manifesto was, I have done it before. And I have good friends across the country. So Nigerians had a very clear picture of what was before them, and they made a choice. Unfortunately, like the last speaker said, the master criminal who is Mahmoud Yakubu and his cohorts messed up the desires of Nigerians. But they did sell out their manifestos very effectively. Nigerians made a choice based on those manifestos. Now, whether the choice Nigerians made translated into the outcome of elections is another matter entirely. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's another matter entirely. Thank you, sir. I don't know, Mr. Danjuma Sali, are you there? Your school of thought on this particular issue. The candidates, the messages they sent out during the election, do you think they really sent it out? Mr. Danjuma Sali, what's your take, sir? You're muted, sir. I think we can't still get him. Okay, let's look at the strengths of the candidate. Mr. Saviour Ekpe, I don't know, looking at the three candidates, Tinubu, Atiku, and Peter Obi. Peter Obi, according to most opinion polls, he was actually leading in the race. If that could actually transmit into real vote, like like Barrister said, we had the problem with that when it comes to the electoral umpire. What do you think about the chances of the candidates in terms of their strengths? What do you think of the candidates nationwide? Mr. Saviour, sir. Mr. Saviour Ekpe, are you there?
With you. I'm with you.
Okay, the strength of the country is nationwide. What do you think were their strength in terms of regional, in terms of issues and where they were coming from?
Yes, and let me start with my principal, whom I believe in. Peter Obi had the widespread of acceptance. Why? Because if you look at solidarity support, if you look at those that were behind him, if you look at the campaign trend, if you look at the groups that were coming in for his support, and then if you look at even the 1 million man marches around across the country, you now discover that in all this was a clear, unbiased, very sincere support that Peter Obi had. And these are people that were coming en masse, spending their own money. You know, in Nigerian politics, the candidate that will spend money on the electorate. But this one, the reverse was the case, where the electorate were spending their money in support of the candidates in order to emerge, because everybody actually was tired of the situation of the country. So we had a support based. I may term it as unsolicited support base. Now, let me keep that one for now. And then let's look at Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso, yes, it's true. He had some supporters across the country, but not thick. His core supporters were in the north, particularly Kano State, where he ruled for 8 years. Now, that is where, if you look at the trend of the present leaders in Kano, majority are of the NNPP. Now, he had his strength was there. That was his strength, his power base. But other countries, we had few support in other parts of the country. It's true, he had some few loyalists, but it was not so much that he could win an election in Nigeria. Now, let's look at Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It is true, he happened to be the power that be, the sitting government there, as it were. Now, given that fact, they have enough structure across the country. But those structures, by my own assessment as a journalist, I discovered that most of those people were bearing name of APC, but with strong alliance. Some of them, they came in surreptitiously in support of Peter. That's what we have seen. That's what we saw. That's why when the election went otherwise, people were disappointed and surprised. So he actually had Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually had the structure, but he did not have the supporters because of the gain.
Yes, if I can cut your people there, most people actually think that Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually had the strength of the state, of the government on his side. That's why he could pull off what he pulled through.
No,
I don't know if you can remember, he actually declared his intention to run for president inside the Ashurok Villa. Remember, early January last year, he actually went to the presidential villa to visit the then President Buhari, and at the chamber of the State House, he declared his intention to run for president. So I actually feel that the instrumentality of the state was what actually helped him to become president. Is that what you think? That is school of thought, sir?
No, not at all. Else, Jonathan would have won. I have been, during the election, as a journalist, I had the privilege of going around the entire state, my state, quite. So I saw and I knew that there were lots of APC people that actually voted Labour Party because of the man in question. But they were carrying the card of APC. So they knew that things could not go well with the structure which they were. So cannot follow because if you look at it does without any inducement. It did not induce anybody. Personally, I normally given my profession, I don't vote. I don't vote. But I decided that I will vote. My family will vote. My supporters will vote. I had to cut of my trips
Okay.
government in monitoring of the election to make sure that I voted.
Okay. So because of time, Mr. Saviour, I'll need to cut you short because we have just limited time. But Barrister Eluchie, let's come to you just before we round up and go to the audience. The obedient movement was phenomenal. If there was anything that was exciting about this election, is the fact that there was this group of people who seemed to break from the norm, mostly youths, who just wanted a candidate that was not part of the establishment, somebody unique, somebody they felt would actually give them hope. What do you think generally about the obedient movement and its role in the candidature of Mr. Peter? To the audience.
Well, okay. Before I respond to that question, let me just talk about supporters base a bit. I mean, Mr. Tinubu had the supporters base of INEC and the security infrastructure. So, I mean, that was what bamboozled him into office. Because INEC did the announcement, despite the laws not being met, and the security also backed it up with necessary force of power. With regards to the obedient movement, it was a very unique social movement in the country. I mean, it was unique. It cut across ethnic, religious, political party divides. And what happened was Nigerians again showed that we are one, that we have shared and common values, which we appreciate. The values or the virtues of being prudent, the virtues of not being over flamboyant, the virtues of being able to have accountability. That was what the obedient movement was about. Most people who are in the obedient movement didn't even meet or didn't ever meet Mr. Pito. But when they heard what this man has been doing and how the kind of person he is, so they fell in love with the possibility of change. So that is what crystallized into the obedient movement, which was a very unique social bandwagon, had a social bandwagon effect in the country. But my worry with that movement now is having approached and reached, even surpassed its crescendo, because the nationwide turnout of youths and voters was massive. And then they didn't still actualize their goal. What will, I mean, they could have if Mr. B had done the needful immediately after the elections, because these people were ready to put a stop to this nonsense. But there was fear that there will be social upheaval, social unrest. But for God's sake, what are we having in Nigeria now? It is worse than social upheavals, worse than because people are dying out of hunger. So, I mean, so that group, that youth that still came out for the obedient movement, what will now convince them again to come out next time at the elections and then to vote for somebody who they think is right, who may not have the willingness to go all the hog? Because it requires that willingness to say, you damn the consequences. You have lived a good life. You have lived your life. Because at the age Mr. P2B was, I don't know what else he was afraid of. I mean, I don't know what else he was afraid of. That was the same thing that happened to Mr. MK Abiola. Abiola knew that after the elections, if he entered that route, he will enter, I mean, by declaring himself the winner, then there will be consequences. And he took that route, and unfortunately, it didn't work out because he died in the process. But we got to that stage in this country. And again, for fear of social unrest and whatever, the person that was actually the instrument in whom Nigerians had deposited the trust reneged. That is the reality. There was a renege. Because the youths were there, just waiting for direction. But somehow it just didn't work that way. And then that is the trust. That is what needs to be built now. Because the issue is not, are you ready to vote for change? The issue is, when we vote for that change, will the person in whom they have deposited that trust be willing to say, look, enough is enough? And not say, okay, let us go to the court and look. What are you going to look at the court? Which court? Is it the court that has the CJ that the one we have now? or the Court of Appeal that talks a lot of, I'm a lawyer for 35 years experience. A lot of the judgments during these appeal processes was absolute nonsense.
Okay,
Let me
sir.
come in real quick, Kevin.
Yeah, before we go, I think we need to go to the comment section. If you have any question to ask or any comment to make in the comment section,
Let me
just talk
come in
about
real
2 or 3
quick.
comments.
Kevin, can you hear me?
Because our time is up. Mr. Femi, please go ahead with your comment or your question.
Okay. To all our speakers today, I have a simple question. First time in Nigerian history, actually, the candidate that's now the selected president of Nigeria actually never did campaign. The other major candidates did campaign, so he never promised Nigerians anything. He got selected and is now sitting there, so there's nothing we can hold him on to. What's your take on that before we go to the our guests, our other participants here, please? Thank you very much.
Let's hear from Barrister Eluchie. Before you go to that question, let's hear from Mr. Danjuma Sali. Are you there? Okay, I think it's still off. Mr. Saviour Ekpe, what's your response, sir? Welcome to Barrister Eluchie. Mr. Saviour. Okay, Barrister Eluchie, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, like what I said, we have somebody who was imposed, foisted on Nigerians, and what can we do? And some say there is no need to take to the streets. At this instance, that is what must be done. There is need to take to the streets and tell these rascals that there must be a stop to this nonsense of imposition of candidates. The fear has always been that there will be much death, there will be much destruction. But come on, what is going on now? I mean, we don't realize that with the spiraling cost of medications, hundreds of thousands of Nigerians are dying on a daily basis that perhaps would not have died if the people had gone to the street. There would have been some casualties. But then we'll put a stop to the nonsense. But then when we keep on saying that, yes, it's already done and we should all relax, 2027, guess what? 2027 will be far, far worse than 2023 because at the rate Mr. Tinubu is going, I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, if he let me learn. I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Tinubu brings out his son to be the INEC chairman. The law allows it. And we'll go to the polls and say, no, let us not upturn the policy. We have to realize that, look, if we don't take our destiny in our own hands, if we don't put a stop to this nonsense, it will keep on getting worse. And once you have that realization, you will know that those who get away with these coups, with this slaughter of Nigerians by taking away our mandate, which was deposited in somebody else, will continue to do it. But when they realize that, look, Nigerians are ready, and not just, we're not going to listen to anybody who says, take it easy, let's go to the court. Which court? The courts are useless. The courts that can't tell us the meaning of and. The courts that can't tell us the meaning of clear words in the Nigerian constitution. The courts that have lost faith. The courts that are populated by billionaires. Judges, several of those judges in the Supreme Court are billionaires. How do you become a billionaire if you don't steal? For one of them who was just sworn in, if you look at the judge's house, you think it's a drug baron's house. So is that a court that when we vote next time, the person that is giving the mandate of who will now say, let us take it, let's go to court. Now, if such a person is intending to come out, let him forget it. Let him forget coming out for the polls. If you're not ready to put a stop to this, let us know that they will just do a handover and there will be no voting. You can't bring people to the streets, give them hope, and then at the last minute, go back to the where. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I actually also pray that we will have a very fair primary process in the parties in the country, because that's actually where these candidates are actually sift out and fronted as presidential candidates. So let's hear from Akko Christian from Niger. Akko Christian,
sorry, please avoid saying let us pray. Please avoid saying let us pray, because those who are causing these problems, they have many of our men of God who are praying on their behalf, far more than you are doing. So God in his infinite wisdom has
Okay, sir.
instilled in us
Let's
the
hear from Akon
capacity
Christian,
to
please.
demand
Akon
of
Christian, your
justice.
thoughts.
Yes.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Akon Christian, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I hope I'm
Yeah,
audible.
welcome, Mr. Christian. You're
Thank you, sir.
audible. You're audible, sir. Go ahead.
I love the last speaker. I love his position. This is what we have been yearning because I've always said it. Being gentle with this current dispensation will not lead us anywhere. We would have taken the chance. As a matter of fact, they were scared while they were pronouncing the judgment, but they came outside and they found very scanty population. Then they saw that the number was less than 100. So they knew they could do anything and get away with it. Okay, look at, I woke up this morning and just found out that Keyamo made a statement that the masses should understand that it's INEC that have the final say. What is he trying to say? So the masses can go about to vote whoever they want, but the INEC could decide to pronounce whoever they wish to. That is what it means by that. So it's not all about the credible candidate that wins. We all know Peter Obi won the election, but he was deprived. We thought we had a court process that works. We had followed the process diligently to Supreme Court. It did not yield any results. So you don't expect an illegitimate government to give you legitimacy through the court in 2027. It will never work. So we need that candidate now that will come and convince Nigerians. It's not about going about, it's good, charity is good, but then if there is good government, there will be no need for charity. That's the position. If there is good government in place, there will be no need for IDPs. So we need a candidate this time around that will come and convince us. And we will go into an undertaking that, yes, come rain, come shine, I will be in the front to lead you out if the need arises. So that is the position. I'm very glad to be part of this discussion this morning. And it really, really makes my heart so glad this morning. So that's the position. The obedient movement, money cannot buy the obedient movement. Because the point you feel maybe you are tired, somebody is already warming up to do better than what you have been doing. So the obedient movement is organic, it's on standby, it has been working since election up to date. It has remained and it keeps expanding. So even like the speaker said, there are even APC supporters that voted for Peter Obi.
Round up, Mr. Christian.
So the point remains that Mr. Peter Obi need to convince us. In short, the idea of peace accord should be written off. We don't need any peace accord. Yes, people are right. We don't need any peace accord, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. Okay, your comment, Mr. Eluchie, before we round up, because our time is up.
Well, my comment is that we should, towards the next elections, we must tell whoever will be the candidate will be supporting that all these trips to London, to Chatham House must stop. Such nonsensical trips must stop because we have realized now that even the British are not even interested in the well-being of Nigeria. If you recollect, soon after that elections, the then British High Commission, Mrs. Catherine Liang, or whatever her name is, had the temerity to come out and say Nigerians should be proud of that election. I told her online that she was stupid to have made that comment. Because even the British can't take such nonsense. Yeah. So any trips, because the election is for Nigeria, on Nigerian soil, there is absolutely no need for any of the candidates to travel out of this country to reach out to Chatham House or whoever. Yes, because of the very large diaspora community we have, communities we have in Nigeria, of Nigerians across the world. Yes, candidates can reach out to the Nigerian communities in US, UK, wherever, but not to approach governmental institutions. In fact, the moment I saw Mr. Peter Obi go into 10 Downing Street, I know it was all over. You know why I said that? Because in 10 Downing Street, they will look at him, look at the kind of ideas he has. Idea that, okay, you stop Nigerian professionals from traveling to Europe, you cut down on corruption of monies going to Europe, to Britain. Come on, when those two languages alone, those two ideas that you cut down Nigerian professionals traveling to UK, and then you stop Nigerian stolen funds going to UK. It's enough for the British government to ensure that you don't become the president of Nigeria. Can you imagine 25% of Nigerian medical personnel in the UK coming back home to Nigeria? The entire British medical system will collapse. So why are you going there to market your ideas? We have to be realistic. Look, why we have to be realistic on this issue is this. We have taken it too soft for too long. I know how many people around me have died because they could not afford the cost of ampiclox. They could not afford the cost of inhaler. It's not. I'm not going to die soon because I can do those. I can afford those. But the reality is, many Nigerians are dying out of the wickedness and maladministration of this Tinubu administration. So anybody who tells us 2027 that some people are going to die if you say you want to go to the streets, that person is a joker. Because already thousands are dying, and you saw what happened at the rice distribution in Lagos. People were just dying over 25 kg bags of rice. Is that what the country want to buy? And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I want to thank you especially for joining this program as we conclude. I also thank Mr. Saviour Ekpe and Dr. Danjuma Saleh. I think he sent a message on the comment section that he was having serious problems with his network. So I want to thank everyone for joining this program. Our program